The October inflation numbers are in and they're celebrating the results as, well, Americans continue to suffer. I don't know about you guys, but optimism can only get you so far. If the numbers and the price remains elevated, then what's there to celebrate?
What do you see in that number? Flat means what to the economy and to the Fed?
The Fed is where it's all at. This is a positive because when the Fed meets in December, what's the big thing they could do? Raise rates. And the fact that inflation is not getting worse is a signal that Jay Powell will not raise rates. And of course, he raises rates. It makes it more expensive to borrow for businesses, for individuals. So it's an overall net positive. And boom, you can see it in the market right there.
So, Andrew, we're looking at the Wall Street up 350 at the moment. The Dow, that's how Wall Street's reacting. But what do you think it means to the Fed here?
Well, I think the Fed's not going to do anything. I think it's very unlikely that they raise interest rates, and that's the good news. I think when you start to look through the numbers, some of the really positive signs are, rent, which is a huge part of this number, is not going up in the material ways that we saw before. So that's going to be a big sort of a relief for a lot of folks around the country. You're starting to see that inflation numbers are just not going up, and that's a great thing. The political question becomes, and I know we've talked about it a lot, do you get credit for this?
You know what? If I was a government official, let's go ahead and head to the top. If I was the president of the United States, I don't think I'd like taking credit for whatever's happening to the economy right now. Am I alone in thinking this? Because they're trying to paint this wonderful picture that, this is, how do I call it? This fantasy that things are actually getting better for Americans. But why don't they try including food and energy here? I've been asking this for the longest freaking time because isn't that a huge factor when it comes to our monthly expenses? But hey, let me ask you guys, are you guys feeling the same thing as this report showing? Do you feel as though inflation numbers are actually going down and now you're actually feeling a little bit more breathing room? Comment a quick yes or no down below on that one. And if you want to help spread the truth out to everyone, smash the like button for the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on all notifications so that you don't miss out on any important updates that are important to every single American out there. Appreciate that, you guys. All right, so getting back on track here. Yes, they are reporting that things are getting better, even though not a lot of people actually feeling the same. I remember when $100 was a lot of money and how going through Walmart, Target, or heck, even Costco, pretty much any other retailer, that would have that money literally fill the back of my car. But these days, it's kind of like maybe a bag or two, right? Now, what's kind of annoying and also kind of shocking is that this wasn't even that long ago. It's like our economy literally just decided to do a complete 180 or something. And to be quite frank with you guys, we're not seeing a lot of relief in many staple items that you and I buy a lot of at the store. Look at this, guys. Bread and milk are both up 1%. Breakfast cereal up by 0.6%. Beef and veal 1.2%. Pork is up 1.3%. Ham with 0.5%. Chicken's up 0.3%. Cheese is 0.5%. And butter, that's up 2.1%. So tell me, guys, does that look like good news? Now, granted, expenses are going down in other parts of the economy, but prices are so inflated that it doesn't even look like it. Now, this has led to economists flagging a huge warning sign, not for the American people, but for President Joe Biden. You see, it's no secret that we're heading into 2024 with probably one of the worst economies that we've had ever since the Great Depression, and that's saying a whole heck of a lot. Now, of course, we also can't completely disregard the fact that we're forced to compare what's happening these days to where we were just a few years ago. But don't worry, guys, the government is well aware of our situation and, of course, our finances.
We have the highest share of working age Americans in the workforce in 20 years. It's no accident. It's Bidenomics.
And while Americans struggle with high prices, the president told reporters polling shows Americans are more positive about their jobs and the economy, adding,
I think they know they're better off financially than they were before. It's a fact.
What the actual fact? Okay, I didn't swear there. I said fact, okay? I don't need any more of my videos being flagged or suppressed for choosing to show you guys the truth. But do you agree that Americans are now better off financially? Comment a 1 if you guys don't agree, and comment a 2 if you do, all right? I'm really curious to know the difference there. Because if more people are doing better, why are more services now asking for tips? You see, a new research shows that 72% of Americans say that tipping is expected in even more places today compared to just 5 years ago. They're even calling it tipflation. Have you guys heard that term before? I guess that's about as catchy as the name Bidenomics, right? Now, it's also worth noting that some businesses are not doing themselves any favors by suggesting tip amounts, especially if it's on the bill itself or on a checkout screen. I was at this one restaurant the other day and the standard tip amount started at 35% tip and it went up as high as 65%. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes the service is amazing, but are you willing to tip 65%? Now, of course, don't get me wrong. Tipping is part of our culture. In fact, I think a lot of other countries do it as well. It's to show your gratitude for a job well done. But I think we're now getting to a time where they're just trying to put these tips everywhere and anywhere.
The option to add a gratuity now increasingly the norm, everywhere from coffee shops to self-service kiosks at the airport, even concert venues.
Do I need to tip? $20 seems crazy for them just bringing me a shirt.
People sharing their frustrations on social media, overwhelmed about when and how much to tip.
30%? This is my first time ever seeing that. Am I just behind the times?
Consumer is just absolutely tired of being asked to tip. They're tired of being asked to spend more money than they normally would on their goods or services.
According to the survey, most people still tip at sit-down restaurants, but the amount is up for debate. 57% of people say they would tip 15% or less for good service at a restaurant. About a quarter would leave 20% or more. But most people agree they don't like automatic service charges or suggested tip amounts. In New York, restaurant owner James Malios automatically adds an 18% gratuity to the bill for all customers.
So for our colleagues, it allows them to earn a living wage, rain or shine.
Malios says the surcharge should be no surprise because it's clearly posted on the menu, website, and bill. Beyond sit-down restaurants, the majority of Americans also usually tip their hairstylist, bartender, food delivery driver, and taxi or rideshare drivers. But there's no consensus on how much is the right amount.
It is common, of course, to leave a tip when it comes to restaurants or the salon, but customers now voicing their frustration about tip requests at self-checkout machines. Self-checkout machines are popping up at stadiums, airports, and shops nationwide, asking customers who are already dealing with high prices to leave a tip. Employers say the gratuities help raise their workers' pay. Even though it is optional, customers are calling this tactic foul because they're not exactly sure what it is that they're tipping for.
I mean, I know I've raised this up before, but who am I tipping at a self-checkout counter? Myself? The machine? Walmart? Like, what the heck, right? And since we're on the topic of retailers, we're now hearing that they're planning to be a little bit more conservative for the upcoming holiday season. I think they learned the hard way that more and more households are struggling to pay for goods nowadays, and well, now they want to avoid having more stocks than they need in order to meet their sales quotas and, of course, their profits. But here's the thing though, and no, I don't have a crystal ball or anything like that. I can't really predict the future. I just want to open up a possibility. What if retailers like Toys R Us, Walmart, Target, Costco, all these different players, right? What if they buy up less inventory for the end of this year and still get met with an abundance of excess stock by 2024? Like, wouldn't that just piss them off? But hey, my opinions here are very limited, and if it was up to me, I would like to hear more from you guys. Make sure you share your thoughts on this and everything that we talked about down below in the comments. And before I go, I want to thank you guys for hanging out. Check out the new YouTube channel called Truth Exposed, link in the description down below. Thank you for liking this video. Thank you for subscribing, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Take care.